Honkai Star Rail has provided us with our favorite zesty gambling addict, Aventurine. He's the latest to be added to the roster, being an imaginary preservation unit, and dare I say, one of the best amongst preservation, if not the best, being able to provide ridiculous amounts of shield to his allies, dishing out decent damage while also supporting his team in other ways. Aventurine is a must pick for your account, and I'll be showing you my build for Aventurine.
But I believe a chip.
His technique, once activated, grants his team a certain amount of defense up. Depending on what his slots land on, this can vary from the lowest value being 24% to the highest value being 60%, and retains the highest value you get. While yes, it does have some RNG elements to it, it's actually not difficult to acquire a decent value of defense up. When you enter the battle, his A4 ability, Hot Hands, activates, which grants your entire team fortified wager shield with defense equal to that of his skill. This is also rather great for auto farming since you wouldn't have to worry about any of your teammates randomly dying. Aventurine's talent grants his entire team effect res and can resist crowd control debuffs when fortified wager is applied to himself with a cooldown of 2 turns. His fortified wager also allows his talent called Blind Bet once you or your allies get hit 7 times to dish out a 7-hit follow-up attack, with each hit dealing imaginary damage equal to the current level of Aventurine's defense to a random enemy. And just like Acheron, it can also go over the 7-hit threshold for the second round of Blind Bet. This is where majority of his damage will come from, dealing impressive numbers. His skill, Cornerstone Deluxe, applies a shield to all allies equal to the current level of his shield and adds extra on top of the shield buff. Note that if his skill is still active, you can stack his skill's effect up to 200% of the shield given by that skill. With the right build, Aventurine honestly can prevent your team from dying. His potential is absolutely insane. With his ultimate, Roulette Shark, he gains an RNG amount of Blind Bet and adds Unnerve to a single enemy and deals imaginary damage more than equal to the current level of his defense. And on top of that, once the target with Unnerve gets hit, crit damage is increased. Unnerve also counts as a debuff, so it works as a plus for Acheron and it increases crit damage, so expect big numbers from your DPS. The rest of his Ascension goes as listed. Ascension 2. For every 100 of Aventurine's defense that exceeds 1,600, it increases his own crit rate by 2% up to a maximum of 48%. 4,000 defense is recommended for Aventurine. Ascension 6. If your ally does a follow-up attack while fortified wager is on them, they grant Aventurine 1 point of Blind Bet with a limit of 3, and the count resets once it's Aventurine's turn again. When Aventurine follow-up attacks, he grants his team fortified wager equal to 7.2% of his defense plus 96, and additionally grants another 7.2% plus 96 to the ally with the lowest amount of shield. The insane levels of protection this man gives you is honestly mind-blowing. I'd love to see one day if Star Rail can attempt to try and surpass Zestarine's kit, which, let's be honest, isn't gonna be happening anytime soon.
But I believe a chip.
Aventurine is one of those units where every single trace adds even more to his stats. Since his skill is what you'll be mainly using, it'll be skill, then ultimate, then talent. If you feel his talent is more important, then you can do skill, then talent, then ultimate. Either way, the skill will always be first regardless. As for the minis, I'd recommend getting the defense ones first, then make your way through the rest since you gain a pretty decent amount of defense. If I remember correctly, it's around 32%. So yeah, it's really good.
But I believe a chip.
HSR players who don't spend money on this game don't have to worry because Aventurine E0 is absolutely insane. I won't be going through his Eidolons since I'm sure, well, most of you wouldn't care either way, but for free-to-play players, you can rest easy since you won't be missing out on pretty much anything playing with E0, and for those who are curious about his Eidolons, you can see them down in the description below.
But I believe a chip.
Since Aventurine is all about defense, then Japard's Moment of Victory Lightcone is the best option for him. The extra defense and effect hit rate it provides to Aventurine is really good, and the fact that it increases the chances of enemies attacking him will allow him to get off his follow-up attacks even more. If you don't have Moment of Victory, then you can use his second best, Trend of the Universal Market. Since it's a 4-star Lightcone, the defense it gives is significantly lower, but the great thing about it is the fact that it guarantees burn on enemies once they hit the wearer, meaning that he can gain ult for Acheron every time he gets hit. I do believe that if you're putting him on your team with Acheron, you're better off using the Trend Lightcone, since Acheron will benefit from it as well.
But I believe a chip.
If you're wondering what relics you should go for, the 2-piece Knight of Purity Palace and 2-piece Ash Blazing Grand Duke personally is the best hybrid build for Aventurine. The 12% extra defense from the Knight piece and the extra 20% for follow-up attacks works really well with Aventurine. When it comes to planar ornaments, Broken Keel is honestly the way to go. Not only does it give 10% effect res to Aventurine, but if his effect res is 30% or higher, his entire team's crit damage goes up by 10%. The important main stats you'd want to be looking for with the body and feet are defense percent. Not only would this help you get to the 4k defense threshold, but will help you tank a lot more damage. This also goes for your substats as well. You should build both defense substats on your hybrid build and the planar spheres and rope. And if you currently can't reach the 4k threshold, 3.5k is honestly rather good from experience. And that's pretty much all for Aventurine's build for me. He's quite simple to build, so you shouldn't have any trouble at all. I look forward to seeing a lot of people using Aventurine, since, let's be honest, he's a really good character, design-wise and lore-wise. Anyways, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Signing off.